one of Australia's best investors that we've ever produced, Anton Tagliaferro from Investors Mutual. Thanks for joining us. The media often makes out the share market as this wild thing that makes or reduces fortunes overnight. Now, why would anybody want to get involved in the share market, so particularly retirees?
Well, look, share prices change from day to day, depending on the mood and depending often on things that are happening, far away from Australia. The reality is, if you buy a good, solid portfolio of Australian shares, such as Woolworths, Amcor, at the right sort of price, that their earnings and dividends are not really reliant on what's happening overseas. And ultimately, if you believe you can buy those sort of companies at the right price, and their earnings and dividends will go up, well, over time, I think everybody understands that the share prices of those companies will go up over time. And that's what we tend to focus on, is can we buy companies today or hold companies at a reasonable price? Are their earnings and dividends going up in the next 3 to 5 years? Which means that in the next 3 to 5 years, their share prices should be higher. So that's the key to us.
And you mentioned Woolworths as a good example. Can you talk us through the history? I think they floated in, what, 93?
November 1994 at $2.40. Yep. And they're now around $35.
Yep.
And obviously they've benefited greatly from expanding their supermarket network from Australia's growing population. And while their share price has gone up over tenfold, so have their profits. So, share prices over the long term tend to follow earnings and dividends. That's the key thing that retirees should focus on, as opposed to worrying about the day-to-day fluctuations of the share market.
So profits have gone up and dividends have gone up.
Absolutely. In fact, I think Woolworths, as I said, traded at $2.40. I think this year they'll pay a dividend of over $1.30, almost $1.40, which is a huge dividend for those lucky enough to have bought the shares at $2.40 in 1994, as I did. And I still own some myself. So.
Oh, that's great. Well done.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Anton. Thanks for your insights on that.
Pleasure.